Hello, students and literature enthusiasts. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Jade Classes. Today, we are diving into one of the most dramatic, psychologically intense turning points in William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Today, we are going to do Act 3, Scene 4. This scene is also famously known as the Banquet Scene. At this point in the play, Macbeth has just secured the throne. Macbeth, okay, means he has just secured the throne, but his paranoia has driven him to arrange the murder of his close friend Banquo and also Banquo's son, that is Fleance. Now, because this scene is dense with the psychological turmoil, then dramatic irony and crucial examination points, so we are covering it in two parts. Okay, so we are breaking this scene in two parts. In first part, we will analyze the royal banquet's opening, the murderers chilling update at the doorway, then Macbeth's immediate descent into guilt and the first shocking appearance of Banquo's ghost. So we are going to cover all this in part 1. Okay. Now, what is the setting? The setting is that it's a room of state in the palace of Forest. So it means that the scene takes place in a room in the palace of Forest. How is the atmosphere? It's a grand, formal royal banquet, so which is prepared for the Scottish nobility. Marked in the celebration, but shimmering with the underlying tension and dread. So as the curtain rises, we will see Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, then Scottish thanes and lords like Ross, Lennox and others. And then we are going to see, the first murderer, so who's waiting secretly at the doorway, and then we will see the ghost of Banquo. The ghost of Banquo who is visible only to Macbeth. Now, let us look at the opening lines. So where Macbeth attempts to play the gracious, humble host. And he is trying to establish authority and normalcy before his guilt completely unravels him. So let's do the text line by line. Act 3, Scene 4 starts with the lines. Macbeth says, "You know your own decrees. Sit down. At first and last, the hearty welcome." So Macbeth says to everybody, to all the Scottish nobility and lords, that you all know your ranks. So sit down accordingly. And once for all, so let me accord you a hearty welcome. So all the lords says, thanks to your majesty. So it means that the lords had thanked Macbeth, that thank you, your majesty. Okay, Macbeth. Our self will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keeps her state, but in best time we will require her welcome. So Macbeth says that I myself will mix with you and I am going to act okay as the humble host. Okay, and our hostess, that is the queen, Lady Macbeth, will remain in her seat. Okay, that is in her chair of state. Okay, but at the most suitable time, I shall request her to speak a welcome. Lady Macbeth. Pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends, for my heart speaks they are welcome. Now Lady Macbeth says that speak the welcome for me. Okay, sir. Okay, to all our friends. For my heart. Okay, from my heart. Okay, I welcome them. Okay. So just at that moment enters the first murderer at the door. Okay, and Macbeth okay notices him. So Macbeth says, see they encounter thee with their hearts' thanks. Both the sides are even. Here I will sit in the midst, be large in mirth, and none we will drink or measure the table round. So Macbeth goes to the door. So while speaking, okay, very tactfully as he speaks, he moves towards the door. Okay, and as he moves towards the door, so who was standing there? The first murderer was standing there. And what did he say to the first murderer? There is blood upon thy face. Okay, so what happened? So as Macbeth was speaking, okay, to the guest, so Macbeth notices the first murderer at the door. Okay, and Macbeth explains to Lady Macbeth that see, the guests respond to you with their heartfelt thanks. Okay, then Macbeth speaks to everybody that both sides okay have repaid each other in this show of courtesy. Clear? Here I will sit amidst means in the middle of all of you. Enjoy yourselves without any restraint. So Macbeth asks everybody to enjoy, okay, without any restraint. And Macbeth says that I will soon drink health all round. Okay, and while Macbeth is speaking with everybody, so he goes up to the door and he speaks with the first murderer. So what he says that there is blood on your face. Okay, and what answer does the okay first murderer give? Okay, that it is Banquo then. Okay, that if there is blood on my face, then it has to be Banquo's blood. Okay, Macbeth. It is better thee without than he would be done. Is it dispatched? Okay, now Macbeth says to the first murderer, it is better for Banquo's blood to be on your face, okay, than to be in his veins. Okay, and then he asks the murderer the question that has he been killed? Has he been dispatched? Okay, murderer. My lord, his throat is cut, that I did for him. And the first murderer says that my lord, his throat has been cut, and I myself did it. Means it's me who has cut the throat of Banquo. Clear? Macbeth. Thou art the best of the cutthroats, yet he is good that did the like for Fleance. If thou didst it, thou art the non-parial. Okay? And Macbeth says that I know that you are the best of the cutthroats. Okay, that you are the best of the cutthroats, but the one who did the same, okay, to Fleance is equally good. Okay, and if you have done it, means if you have cut the throat of both the Banquo as well as the Fleance, then you are without any equal in your trade. Okay, so you are precious, you are non-parial, means you cannot be compared with anybody. Okay, so you are without an equal in your trade. Murderer. Most royal sir, Fleance is kept. Okay, and mm, the first murderer gives the bad news that most royal sir, Fleance has escaped. Okay, as soon as Macbeth comes to know about it, what was his reaction? Okay, so he says, "Then comes my feet again. I had else been perfect. Okay, whole as the marble, founded as the rock, as broad and general as the casing air. But now I am, okay, cabined, cribb'd, confined, bound in to saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo's safe." Okay, so as soon as Macbeth comes to know, okay, that Fleance had escaped, so Macbeth says that then my feet of fear comes over me again. Okay, that my feet of fear comes over me again. Had Fleance been dead, okay, then my satisfaction would have been complete. Okay, that if Fleance had also been dead, then my, okay, satisfaction would have been complete. I would have been solid like marble, okay, firm as a rock, okay, and free, okay, and exuberant as the surrounding air. Okay, but now, okay, when I came to know that Fleance had escaped, I am shut in, I am imprisoned, and I am fettered by insolent doubts and fears. Okay, but has Banquo been certainly murdered? Okay, now the question is that okay, has Banquo been certainly murdered? Means is that news true? Okay, or he had also escaped? Murderer. My good lord, safe in a ditch he bids, with the 20 trenched gashes on his head, the least a death to nature. Okay, and the first murderer assures Macbeth that no, Banquo is really dead. Okay, and he says that yes, my good lord, okay, he certainly lies in a ditch with the 20 gaping wounds on his head. Okay, the smallest of which is enough by itself to cause a man's death. Okay, clear? So there he is having 20 gaping wounds on his head. Okay, Macbeth. Thanks for that. There the grown serpent lies, the worm that's fled hath nature that in time will venom breed. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we will hear ourselves again. Okay? So Macbeth says that thanks for that. Okay, and then Macbeth speaks aside. Aside means that Macbeth speaks to himself. Okay, so which is audible to the audience. Okay, not the characters who were standing beside him. Clear? So what did Macbeth say aside? That the grown serpent, that is Banquo. Okay, he lies dead there. Okay, the young snake, that is Fleance, who has escaped, will by nature become venomous in due course, but is harmless for the present. Then Macbeth speaks with the murderer. But you can go now. Tomorrow we shall talk to each other again. And the murderer goes away. Okay? Now Lady Macbeth comes in and she says, "My royal lord, you do not give the cheer the feast is sold. That is not often vouched while it is a making. It is given with welcome to feet where best at home, from thence the sauce to meet a ceremony, meeting where bare without it." Now Lady Macbeth comes in. Okay, sorry. And Lady Macbeth uh, says to Macbeth that, "My royal lord, okay, you are not welcoming your guest. Okay, that you are not welcoming your guest. That unless the repeated welcomes are expressed, a feast looks like a paid for meal. Food itself is better at home, but outside one expect more ceremony to make the meal worthwhile." Okay, clear? That if you go to a restaurant, okay, even you will see that they come and ask you that, was the food okay? Okay, and if you are invited to someone else's house, okay, so they ask for it, means they, okay, means welcome you, okay, they ask you to have something more, clear? Because uh, meal is good at home, clear? If repeated welcome are not expressed, a feast looks like a paid for meal. Okay, so food itself is better at home, but outside, when we go outside, we expect more ceremony, okay, to make this meal, okay, worthwhile. Macbeth. Sweet remembrance, sir. Now, good digestion wait on appetite and health on both. So Macbeth says that sweetheart, you have reminded me of my duty as a host. Okay? And then Macbeth speaks to the guest. What did he say? That may good digestion follow your appetite and health follow both. Lennox. May it please your highness seat. Okay, now Lennox request that, will your highness be seated please? Okay, that, will your highness be seated please? Macbeth. Here had we now our country's honored roofed, where the graced person of our Banquo present, who may I rather challenge for unkindness than pity of mischance. And Macbeth says that here now, okay, so we would have all the nobility of our country under one roof, okay, except Banquo. Okay, that he means, had only the noble Banquo been present, okay, then okay, the circle, or it would have been totally complete. Okay, but I should rather blame him for being unkind in depriving us of his company, okay, than pity pity him for any accident so which might detain him. Clear? And as soon as Macbeth takes the name of Banquo, the ghost of Banquo enters and sits, okay, in the place that was assigned for Macbeth. Okay, so the ghost of Banquo enters and sits in Macbeth's place. Clear? Ross. His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please it your highness to grace us with your royal company. So Ross says that his absence means Banquo's absence, sir, makes him guilty of not keeping his promise. But will your highness honor us by taking your seat with us? Okay, so Macbeth goes to take his seat. Okay, but what he says? Okay, the table is full. Okay, the table is full means that all the seats at the table are occupied. So where should I sit? Lennox. Here is a place reserved, sir. Okay, and Lennox says that here is a chair. Okay, so which is reserved for you, sir. Okay, Macbeth. Where? Okay, the Macbeth asks where? Where is the chair? Lennox. Here, my good lord. What is it that moves your highness? Okay, so Lennox says that here, my good lord. Okay, and what is it that makes your highness, okay, start? Okay, so you look quite start, that means surprised, okay, frightened. What happened? Macbeth. Which of you have done this? Now Macbeth, okay, starts speaking nonsense. Clear? So Macbeth says that, which of you have played this trick on me? Clear? Lords. What, my good lord? That all the lords ask that what do you mean? Okay, my good lord. Macbeth. Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me. So Macbeth starts speaking with the ghost of Banquo. Okay, so Macbeth says that you cannot say that it was my hand, okay, that killed you. Okay, so you cannot put the blame on me, and do not shake your gory locks means blood covered hair at me. So do not shake your blood covered hair at me. Okay, Rouse. Gentlemen, rise. His Highness is not well. So Ross says to the other guest, okay, that gentlemen, get up from your seats. It seems, okay, that our Lord, His Highness, is not well. Okay, and Lady Macbeth, okay, comes there immediately to save the sin. Okay, Lady Macbeth. Sit, worthy friends, my lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray, you keep sit. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought, he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him, and extend his passion. Feed and feed and regard him not. Clear? And then she chides to Macbeth. Are you a man? Clear? So what does Lady Macbeth say? Okay, so Lady Macbeth, okay, steps into the scene. Okay, she wants to save it, and she asks the noble lords that sit, noble friends. Okay, she tries to explain the thing that my lord often behaves, okay, in this manner, and he has been doing so since his youth. I mean, so this is a type of a feat. Okay, so he's having this type of feat right from his childhood, okay, from his youth. I request you to keep seating, that please be seated. Okay, the fit is short-lived, it's temporary. Okay, Macbeth will recover soon. Clear? So he will recover in a moment or two. Clear? If you will make a fuss of him, clear? So if you make a fuss of him, so you will make him worse and will prolong the fit. Okay? So go on with your feast and pray. Okay, and don't pay any attention. Okay, to your highness. Clear? So then Lady Macbeth says, she chides, okay, at Macbeth and says, "Are you a man?" Okay, Macbeth. And a bold one. So that dear look on that so which might apple the devil. And Macbeth says that yes, okay, I am a man and a bold man for sure because I can endure that terrible sight, okay, that could frighten the devil itself. Okay, Lady Macbeth. Oh, proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air drawn dagger, so which you said led you to Duncan. All these flaws and stars, impostors to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire, authorized by her grandam, shame itself. So why do you make such faces when all's done? So you look but on a stool. Okay, and Lady Macbeth, so chiding Macbeth says that all nonsense. Okay, so this is spectacle is merely a product of your fear. Means whatever you are saying, so it's a product of your fear. So this is another of your apparition. So just like that visionary dagger, okay, so which you said, okay, it had guided your way to Duncan's room. Okay, all these outbursts, okay, these feats, okay, these are all merely false fear. Clear? And all this, okay, this outburst, it would suit a story narrated beside the winter's fire by a woman, okay, on the authority of her grandmother. Clear? um, Shame on you, and she chides him. Okay, that shame on you. So why do you make such a strange gestures? Yeah, why you are making such a strange gestures? After all, you are merely looking at an empty chair. Okay, that you are just looking at an empty chair. Clear? Pray thee see there. Behold, look, lo, how say you? So why? Okay, what care? What care I? If thou canst not speak too. If charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, our monuments shall be the moors of kites. Okay? And when Lady Macbeth was chiding Macbeth, okay, so Macbeth ask Lady Macbeth that I asked you, you look there. Okay, look, just to see there. Okay, what do you see? Clear? So Macbeth says that what I'm seeing is real. So you also see that side. Okay, what do you see? And then Macbeth addresses Banquo's ghost. Okay, that why should I be scared? So Macbeth is speaking this to the ghost of Banquo. Okay, he is saying that why should I be scared? Okay, if you can shake your head, you can speak too. Okay, that if you can shake your head, then you can speak too. Okay, if those we bury, okay, can come out of their tombs and graves, then we should permit the birds of prey to devour the dead bodies. Okay, that if after burying the dead bodies are coming out, then it is better, okay, that we leave the dead bodies to be, okay, devoured by the, okay, birds of prey. Clear? And by this time, the ghost disappears. And with the sudden disappearance of the ghost, so we reach the climax of the first half of this scene. Macbeth's guilty conscience has completely shattered the royal facade. Okay, Lady Macbeth attempts to manage the crisis, but the Scottish Thanes have now witnessed their new king in a state of absolute psychological terror. What happens next? When Macbeth tries to regain his composure and proposes another toast. So, will the ghost of Banquo return? How will Lady Macbeth dismiss the lords before Macbeth completely incriminates himself? So we will cover all this, okay, all that in part two. Okay, if this line by line breakdown helped clarify Shakespeare's language and dramatic themes, make sure to like the video, share it with your classmates, and subscribe to the channel with notification turned on so you don't miss the part 2. Drop your questions and interpretations in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Keep learning, and I will see you in the next lesson. Bye.